Amen.
We got to shift the mindset and go from awareness to action. We got to shift the mindset and let it be one powerful chain reaction. We're living in a world where kids are getting snatched and forced into dark corners that form, left broken and starving, eternally torn, behind closed doors, giving up hope once more, no idea there's something greater that they could be living for. We got to shift the mindset, because it only becomes a problem when it happens to another family member. So imagine if that was your son or your daughter, then it would be a different transaction. We got to shift the mindset, come correct, and stop thinking that this has nothing to do with us. It's time to confront and expunge the pride, the greed, the envy, the gluttony, and lust.
Amen.
But we say that it all seems endless, so what's the point? Why bother? But the real question is, how can we allow any of this to go on any longer? We got to shift the mindset and start leaning into the discomfort, because saving the life of one means one less soul that no longer has to suffer.
Amen.
We got to shift the mindset, because this isn't a fight that can easily be won. But let's be the swords and shields with our weapons raised up as we fight as one, as we fight for healing, fight for freedom, fight for the voiceless, fight for the future right here, right now in this moment. We got to shift the mindset and bring war to the enemy's doorstep, change the dialogue and subject. Does anybody object? We must be willing to face this great threat. Our children, our youth are being reduced to mere objects. And my God, it's imperative that we change the narrative, flip the script. The ending now has unlikely heroes and heroines. We got to shift the mindset, because in the chaos, there can be comfort. And saving the life of one means one less soul that no longer has to suffer.
Amen.
Melbourne, how we feeling? I wasn't really feeling that. Melbourne, how we feeling? There it is. Hasn't this been an amazing night of worship so far?
Yeah. Amen.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us. It is nice to meet you all. My name is Jason, and I'm here on behalf of Compassion International, and I would love to share a story with you really quick. See, not too long ago, I had the opportunity to go to the Dominican Republic. Okay, we have some people from the Dominican Republic here. That's amazing. And to give you context, when my friend called me and asked for this opportunity, I had never been on a missions trip before. I've never been in a country that lives drastically different than I do. So when my friend called me and he said, hey, would you want to go on this trip with us? I said, absolutely. When are we leaving? And so about 12 of us hop onto a plane, we fly out, and then we hop into a bus that takes us about 45 minutes into the village that we were going to be serving in. And now, since this is my first time out of the country, I was very observant of my surroundings. And the first thing that I took notice of was the size of these homes. And the best way to put it is that I probably walked into bigger walk-in closets than these homes. And unfortunately, when we arrived there, it was pouring down rain on us for pretty much the entire week while we were there. And so what I also noticed on these homes was that the sheet metal that was on the top of their homes for their roofs had rusted. So there was a bunch of holes in these roofs. And so as it was pouring down rain, it was flooding some of these homes. And some of these homes didn't have any electricity. I noticed they had a single bed, that a lot of them had about 5 or 6 kids that would sleep on this bed with a mosquito net casted over it. And then I also noticed just how dirty the water was as we kept going further and further into the village. But luckily at the very end of this trip, the sun had finally come out, it stopped raining, but I had no idea that I was going to get an unexpected blessing by this mother that we got to meet at the end of this trip. See, on the last day, we entered into this home, and I got hit in the face with this incredible aroma. Now, there's nothing better than a home-cooked meal, I'm telling you. But here's the thing. that aroma that hit me in the face, this mother had just made some plantains. And okay, y'all are rocking with me. All right, yes.
Yes.
So the mother had just finished making some plantains. All of us pile into her home, and she was putting everything onto a plate. And then she approaches us, and she extends out her hand with the plate and says, "Welcome to my home." And as I stood there, as much as I wanted to indulge into these plantains, I couldn't help but think that this is the little that this mother has. She had to provide for her family, but she's willing to bless us with this plate of plantains. And so that stuck with me as I got onto the plane and I flew back over here, and it just kind of started going over it over and over again, because the posture and the heart and the response that this mother had without any hesitation, I could tell that this mother was living from a place of abundance. And even though our lives looked drastically different, I knew for a moment what it was like to have little. And that wasn't my response. If you came over to my apartment, I was holding on to all of my apples. I got some free tap water for you. That's how I was, because I was living with such a scarcity mindset. And so meeting this mother had just shifted the way I thought about approaching and blessing other people. And that posture, that heart, and again, that response that the mother had is what we're all about here at Compassion. See, Compassion, what I love is the mission. Our mission is to change the narrative and to break the cycle of poverty in a kid's life so these kids have a future. And what I love is that they have the ability to utilize $43 a month to protect these kids from getting exploited, put food into their stomachs, give them an education, but then to give these kids a future.
Amen.
See, back in 2017, I sponsored my first kid. But also back in 2017 was the